So, cool. I think to kick things off, I'm just going to let you guys briefly introduce yourselves, and then we'll kind of go into some sort of questions and stuff. So we'll start from this end. Obviously, we've seen a couple of speakers already, so Karen, over to you. Tell us about who you are and what you do.
Yeah, sure.
Why are you here?
My name is Khalid. I'm a founder of Victory Brands, which is a brand licensing agency. Founded by ex-Rovio employees, but none of them is really how it is.
How many ex-Rovio employees do we have here? This is the great. Okay, fair enough.
Actually, three of
Are you sure you didn't work for Rovio? This is.
Actually, three of us used to work in the same team here. So, yeah.
Great.
So what we're doing, so we are creating and executing global licensing strategies for mobile game brands and animation studios.
Okay.
So goal is to make entering the licensing as easy as possible.
Awesome. Okay.
Yeah, I'm in charge of business development at Lima Sky. Kali just mentioned I used to work for Rovio. For those of you who are not familiar with the name of Lima Sky, we're responsible for the product called Blue Jump. It's been around for 5 years and performing extremely well still to this day.
I'm Maria, marketing director, still at Rovio.
You're still there. That's it.
I'm like the weird one here.
The last survivor.
Been there for over 3 years, and I've been working with the account management and marketing teams throughout that, and before that in advertising as well. So branding is pretty close to heart.
Cool. All right.
Vlad, not a Rovio employee, never been one.
Yet. There's still
Yes.
time.
Yeah,
Fair
you
enough.
never know, you never know.
Okay.
We don't license our brand, we don't make plush toys, but we actually see branding from a different perspective because we license cars. And we work with, I think, 37 individual car brands.
Wow. Fantastic. You got one of each. That's part of the deal, isn't it?
I wish.
Okay.
I'm Pepe, I'm the chief creative at Series, and my background is working with one of the co-founders in a company called Remedy, where I was leading a franchise called Max Payne, which got turned into a movie and got created on
We're familiar with Max Payne, that's what it's
and then I was working, I joined Rovio in the company, it was about 30 people, and had a great time there, leading the games, scaling up the Angry Birds games to 12 different platforms and some billions of them, so had a great time there.
Awesome, good stuff. So let's think of some questions then. So we're seeing a real increase in traditional brand marketing with like King, talked about it this morning, Supercell buying out the whole Japanese underground system. And then we've got people like Christian Seeger Industry coming out and saying that brand building is now a core part of promotion and part, something you should be thinking from the start. Both in terms of increasing UA effectiveness and also for its own sake. Is that fair to say? Is brand building now the thing that we need to be doing? Because it was all about UA for a long time.
It definitely should be.
It definitely should be. Cool. And would you, because we were talking about it a little bit the other day, you were sort of talking about between defensive and offensive kind of approaches.
Yeah, the way we think about this is that right now, the past couple of years, you had in mobile marketing, you had a great opportunity to play the user acquisition game, and it's been a great way of scaling up fast. But now that the market is getting more and more saturated, there's so many apps being released, the competition is so fierce. The user acquisition game no longer can, you're not going to win by playing the mobile marketing or user acquisition game.
Yeah.
That's kind of a defensive play to us nowadays.
Yeah.
And going forward, as the marketplace saturates even further, that's when you really want to have brand. You need to have an IP that differentiates and sets you apart. And that's something that we take very seriously.
I suppose we'll come back to that.
Can't be said.
You're very serious, gentlemen, that's good. Cool, would you agree with that, Armin?
Yeah, certainly I agree because you want to have a compelling story, and for us, we've never done user acquisition, so it's we want to have a compelling story, bringing across a true story, and that's a key part or a key element in here. And also kind of having an honest story.
Yeah, fair enough. And obviously you're all about branding, and so you can agree that the brand should be the first thing to think about. So.
Definitely.
Okay, so that's obviously when you've got your kind of Rovio, you've got Hot Summer Integrated or Supercell, but how how does it work for the smaller guys, for the sort of developers that are just starting out, or a bit more cautious. Can't all go and buy an underground train station. So how do we think about branding from that perspective? How can you build that game up thinking about brand? How do you do it? What's the secret?
Well, I think one certainly very much at the core is how do you build up the IP?
Yeah.
For example, the amount of effort that a company like Royal spends building up the world, the universe, defining the characters, fleshing out their nuances of how you build that is something that I don't think most people realize the effort that goes in there. But once you've spent that effort, it then means that when the game starts getting up, you have so many stories that you can create. You can have a lot of unique looks. Whereas if you just do 40 games in a row with very small shots, like just effectively throwing a lot of things at the wall, then if one of those games takes off, you might not have that depth behind the IP, and then it's going to be very thin, and you're going to be basically scrambling to provide that with the IP.
Yeah. Okay. Would you agree with that? I mean, obviously we talked about Rover a lot, and Angry Birds, everybody knows that that's going to happen. From a dual job perspective, obviously it's quite a simple character, as is Angry Bird, I guess. But how important was the kind of brand in the creation of it?
Well, I think the key element was really like to be deep down in connection with the users and the fans,
Sure.
and get the understanding what are they looking for, what are their recommendations, what do they want to see in the future. That helps you being authentic and real, and that takes you to the next level because people appreciate when you listen to their feedback. So things like Facebook, Twitter, and all that, and really listen, and then also take action what people are saying and recommending, and that then adds to building the brand. Obviously, we're far away from what Romeo has done, but
It's established people.
it's established brand. But I think key element, as Petri was saying, is that you really need to be focused on what is our product here, rather than just throwing things out and then don't know what will happen. So we need to have that vision and work with it.
Yeah, and even with us, like we do release other games than Angry Birds as well, so we do need to
You do?
start.
That's true.
Yeah, so we need to start from scratch as well there, and it is a lot of work even for say Retry, which is a much smaller game.
Awesome, we try that.
So, but the branding is very strong in there. So it's been really thought through. How do we want to express that mechanic? What are the visuals? What is the style? What's the target audience? The 80s soundtrack. These are super important elements that add to the gameplay.
And I guess with the Rodeo Stars initiative, I mean, I presume you're advising on branding as part of that whole relationship with those guys because they're making the games.
Absolutely, it is an entertainment business. We need to be able to make emotional connections to everything we do and find that community. Having a brand means that you're giving that brand to the audience to own. So how do you listen to them and make sure that you are paying attention to how they want to see it too?
Yeah.
And then also I think to make sure that when you apply something that is really perfect or as close to perfection as it can be. For us it's been making use of the motion sensor in the iPhone. So it doesn't make sense that the game is half ready, or not half ready, but the motion sensor is not made use of to perfection.
Sure.
You'd rather wait and get that right before you.
No, I think that's true. You're seeing that. You're seeing the quality is very important. Obviously, Candy Crush Saga spent a lot of time getting it right, but that's the point of having money is to get it right before you get it out. Switching aside though, I mean, looking at working with your own brands, looking at working with the established brands. Again, like let's leave for a second. I mean, that's obviously something that we've done. But Lean Sky kind of worked with like things like SpongeBob and other movies, and you've kind of and other games. You've kind of done a lot of kind of partnering with brands or leveraging other brands and engagement. So, what's the thinking behind that, and how does that,
Well, I think
how do you manage that?
it's a bit of helping both brands to evolve and then add another twist to it and add another story to it. Yet again, keeping in mind that it needs to be some sort of brand fit.
Yeah.
So taking two brands together and putting them into one pot can actually lead to something completely new.
Do you find that it's a matter of, I guess with these movie companies, it's a matter example of them coming, you know, say with the temporary guys, I imagine is it them coming to you and saying, hey, can you do something with this, or is it?
I guess it goes both ways, but you know, again, as an indie developer or as a smaller developer or even in a young industry like we are in, it's always perceived that, you know, a big movie studio knows what they're doing, but actually then it's a management expectation where you have to realize, okay, we know the mobile side and this is what we can do rather than go wild and crazy.
You're used in Hollywood anyway, obviously help in that case.
But I didn't say that right now there's a lot of well-known global IPs from US who are now looking at like great game developers in Finland, and it's been pretty interesting to see like how they see the market right now. Totally different, you know. Obviously, like the next game example, it's really great things what's happening.
We're coming to that in the next kind of session. I think that's very interesting. There's a lot of that. It used to I remember the Java days where necessarily a branded game wasn't necessarily a badge of quality. But I think these days there's a lot more mature way of approaching that. I'm going to move on to kind of merchandising. Again, I think it's something I don't want to drum over too much because everybody knows how amazing the Rogues have done that. It's everywhere. Where's in terms of the attitude towards kind of merchandising, how do you find the balance? What's the secret? How do you decide when to make something, when not to? Rogue famously has like 10,000 products or something. It's a lot of different things, which is certainly one way of doing it. But and then you have other people that kind of be very sort of selective and kept to 4 or 5 things. How do you decide that? And how does that come about?
Well, I don't know whether it's a mixture of decision making and also a lack of manpower that, for example, we have, because we don't have a licensing department of, I don't know how many people you guys have there right now. It's massive. I mean, we are more going after what makes sense for us, you know, and it's a bit of a Shark Tank out there because you will have people coming to you promising you the world that they will sell gazillions of plush toys or whatever, and also that the quality aspect that we have, or the, you know, it's a nice game that shows some sort of perfectionism that we want to have that in that licensed product as well. So it doesn't have that all of a sudden we're going to throw out, you know, truckloads of plush toys that fans will be unhappy with. And to us, you know, we want to take a consistent and rather slower approach because we think that we rather have a brand that's valued 20 million in 20 years than one that's 200 million in 2 years but 0 in 20 years. So, you know, finding the balance there, I think, is just the key.
No, that's really interesting. I mean, from a big brand perspective, I guess is this the sort of thing you're advising? You guys advising? It seems to me that the mobile is ideally placed, you know, for licensing merchandising, for products. You've got a big audience, you've got characters. Obviously, I think Rogue did it very well. You've seen Fruit, kind of the Half-Brick guys have done some bits and pieces. Sector Labs have done some stuff. Do you see this being like a new wave of mobile IPs kind of bringing out merch?
Well, obviously, like a lot of game developers are right now looking into licensing and how they can license their brand even further. But I mean, obviously, there's always the revenue discussion as well. Like in general, like revenues are seen, I mean, licensing is seen as a great tool to generate revenues. But with these mobile game developers, most of them are starting with like if they're entering the licensing, they see that as a great tool to build the brand awareness and also a great way to delight their fans. And obviously, I think that's a great way to start, and obviously that's also a tool like how you can build much longer term brands as well instead of going big straight away and go all the categories that are available and so on. So
I guess the question of that is obviously if you're getting merchandise, you know, t-shirts, soft drinks, films, whatever. It works 2 ways, doesn't it? On one hand, it's a great driver for awareness of the game or the digital product kind of selling. On the other hand, it's kind of revenue generator. Like, is there a perfect kind of balance between those two things? I mean, for Rogo, clearly we reported it's making a decent chunk of your change. It's like almost 50% of the revenues last time. So, is it both for Rogo, or is it? Is it intended to do both, or do you focus more on the revenue side and the?
I think it's an equal thing. So obviously there is the business reason to it, but at the same time, like Peter was saying, we want to be on all screens, and and soda is helping to beat all those screens. So
Yeah.
it does drive a lot of awareness for the game and bringing people back to the digital experience as well. But like I said, there's also the marketing aspect of it. So using it as a marketing tool to get in front of people who might not be able to ever buy an iPhone.
Yeah.
Massive difference there.
Yeah.
I think for us, we want to make sure that it fits, and I think I said it earlier to you, Chris, that when we will find doodle jump dog food somewhere, then I think we've gone a little bit too far. So
The dog food. You know, is there Angry Birds dog food? Do we know this? No, I don't think so. I think that'd be dangerous. But okay. Okay. I'm coming to the two, Petra. I mean, you've talked about. You're very much about building brands and building strong IP. That's your mission statement, isn't it? So, and you know, so from that perspective, are you also kind of looking at the wider world of kind of brand, kind of licensing and merchandise, or are you just games first? Like, you know, today we've had two different approaches. We've had Supercell saying just about games, we're not thinking about anything else, and Peter was sort of talking about the bigger, not that they don't care about games at all, that's not it, but more that it's the bigger brand. So where would you sit?
The way we think about this is that given the massive reach on mobile into as well, we believe that some of the world's biggest entertainment franchises will be created on mobile platforms first. And what we've set out to do is build IP that can reach a massive and large audience on mobile, and we're completely and absolutely focused on the game for now. But at the same time, we're building a design where there's a great immersive world that you can discover. There's conflict, there's characters, there's all types of elements that that enable us in the future to have the option of expanding from the game space into bigger, even larger entertainment franchises.
Okay. I've got a couple more questions, but I'm going to have an option for anybody to ask questions. Is anybody out there, any sort of developers interested in asking us a question here? Where's my camera assistant? There we go. The mic's just on the top there.
right here.
Good. Fantastic. Just a chat there, and it's very bright here, so I can't really see. I think it's a blue shirt. But
Hi. I've got a question for Maria. So when you were starting the merchandise for Rovio, I would like to know, how did you think about making this happen? As in, did you consider just selling your brand to licensees, licensors, or did you think about making it all in-house, as in contacting the manufacturers, handling the whole promotion, online store and everything? Can you please share your thoughts on this?
I'll try to answer that one. So I haven't worked in the licensing team, so I'm not totally aware of all the details there. But as far as I recall, the first products we did were the plush toys, and they were already done with a licensee. So we worked with a partner who we trusted, and we knew that the quality was going to be great. We have done some products ourselves as well, so sourcing the factories and such. But to be honest, it is so much easier to find partners that you trust, that are established already, and have the retail connection. So that's a lot of work. We do have a licensing team in-house, and it is a pretty extensive one. They work as category managers, so they are responsible for certain licensees and certain products, and they look at the samples, approve the products, and make sure that they're like with our stamp of approval before they go out. The same goes with the marketing stuff. We have a similar type of things. When we work with partners, we always have the approval stamp for the final product before it goes out in the public. So we use a lot of partners to be able to be somewhere where we are not naturally, and get the awareness through that.
okay. Do you have any more questions out there? It's very. I can't really see here, so you're quite. Fair enough. Okay, I have one last question which I'm going to throw out there, because I think this is. I don't know, the chap actually, he was showing me an NFC technology yesterday. We had like a Skylanders type of thing. So, like Skylanders and telepods seems to be a really interesting way of coming out of the real world and merchandise with the brand and the game. Are we going to see, is that something, obviously you guys have been working on it, it's been quite successful. Do you think that's going to be a real important part of the future of mobile games and a way of bringing it, Nintendo obviously just now at E3 announced that they're going that way, as you have, as Disney have obviously been followed Activision into it. Is this something that all mobile guys should be looking to, or more?
I see it more, I mean, working with elements like that is absolutely fantastic. You can create new gameplay types, new experiences that you haven't been able to do previously. At the same time, I think it's a little more like an addictive thing. If you look at the entire game, because it gives you more options and creating new experiences, but certainly it's not the only way to go forward.
Vlad, are you going to be doing collectible cars in the real world and stick on the internet with the game?
Someday we would. It's just complicated by the fact that we don't know the designs and the names of the cars. So there's going to be a lot of convincing to do, because even if you look at the brands in one niche, the automotive brands, they're all different.
Yeah.
If you look at our game, it's a racing game, so it's like an ideal fit. But someone say, hey, Gran Turismo is a racing game, but you have a mobile, it's not serious. So it's always difficult to negotiate and go further and convince them that mobile is a real deal, because for them, 200 million mobile users is sometimes worth 200,000 TV viewers. They just don't get it. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. But eventually, I want to do this because what we see now with developed technology, we see the convergence of digital and physical. It's becoming more easy to create those kind of immersive experience and tie them to physical objects. It's really cool.
I would like to point out a few things as well. I think it's pretty exciting that the traditional toy companies are interested in digital, because this is not their expertise, so we are able to give them that opportunity to be in the mobile space. So there's a lot of innovation going on there, obviously, because they really need to move on to the next phase. So we're seeing a lot of interesting stuff from that perspective. But I think what's really cool, like from my personal professional experience, is that what we're working with Hasbro right now is Telebot for Stella. So we're going to be doing female-led digital physical integration for girls category, and I don't think this has been done ever before. So introducing something super mobile and digital for
We've all got
girls.
MC Barbies at home, surely. But that's just
Exactly.
Maybe.
It's pretty exciting. Whole new audience.
Awesome. Armin, we're going to have a little dip and bounce up and down on the screen.
I think the key
Can
here
you
is
do it? Can you have to balance it? There's a whole new game. That's for free. The new doodle jump is like a stick.
exactly. I think the key here is that it needs to be executed really, really well. Otherwise, it's just going to become a landfill, and we don't want to do that.
Fair enough. And any closing words from you?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of toy licensees are already talking about it quite a lot, so that's always a good mark. And it's something more than basic label wrapping that you just take the brand and put it in the t-shirt. I mean, just take the logo and put it in the t-shirt. It's something more unique, so that's something really cool and really waiting for it.
Awesome. And as the father of a 3-year-old, I'm delighted there's been more plastic things to add to a mobile phone. So can we have a round of applause, please, for our panel? So we now